Hello everyone, welcome back. You're watching Empyrion Galactic Survival episode 87. I'm Enigmius and today we're continuing with the hangar build of the Cetorhinus, which is our new capital vessel. We're starting with the hangar because it will be the lowest point on the ship, and that way, starting from the bottom and working our way up seems like the easiest way to go. In the last episode, we reworked the front of the ship so that it would be a little bit easier to start bending the hull around to the side. So we're going to have a 90-degree transition to the top and bottom. It's going to be very, very simple, but the sides will be reached via a curve from the front, so to speak. Keeping in mind, obviously, in a voxel universe, we never really actually have curves unless they're provided for us in sort of like a pre-made block format. In this case, obviously, we don't have that sort of thing. So we're creating our own curve, or more specifically, our own illusion of a curve by putting together a group of blocks in lines that transition through a series of angles until they arrive at the destination, so to speak. So if you think of the front of the ship as 0 degrees, we use 22.5-degree blocks, followed by 45-degree blocks, followed by more 22.5-degree blocks, and ultimately we finish the curve with more cubes heading in the perpendicular to the face. That's where we get sort of the curve. Fairly straightforward, especially once you've done it a few times. I always recommend to people, if you're new to curves, circles, anything like that, you can find all kinds of places on the web that will allow you to input the dimensions that you're looking for, the number of blocks wide, the number of blocks high, whether you're looking for a circle or an ellipse or any number of different shapes that you can put together. And they'll give you the layout so that you can just count blocks and basically duplicate them in your voxel world. The one that I recommend, because it's the one that I use, is plots.co.uk. It was originally offered, if you look at the layout of the site and the images that they provide as examples, as a Minecraft sort of tool. Obviously it works in any kind of voxel world that you can think of. And in our case, as I've been mentioning the last couple of episodes, we're building with capital vessel size blocks, which means we can create something that's very, very large with a relatively small number of blocks, all things considered, compared to how many blocks we would need if they were the size that you get for a small vessel or a hover vessel in order to create something of the same size. The capital vessel just makes it easy to use a handful of blocks to make something gigantic. The downside, the smaller it is, the harder it is to make curves convincing. If it's really, really big, and or you're looking at it from quite a ways away, it's much easier to make it look like it's actually a curve and not just an optical illusion in the form of blocks that are put together in a specific sequence. You can see here, I'm assembling this whole thing. It's actually starting to look kind of like a curve, which is cool. I'm happy with that, and it's also got some interesting detail going on. It's not just a flat curve going around to the side. It's got some stuff that makes the eye look at it and say, yeah, that's kind of neat. In that sense, we're doing all right. The thing that I had to decide, that I didn't decide soon enough, is whether I wanted all of the seams to line up, or if it was okay to have areas where the seams don't line up, so you get like a little flat piece in between the different seams. I end up setting up the top part here that I'm working on now so that all of the seams line up and everything is nice and smooth. And when I realized how much I like that compared to what I've got going on down at the bottom, I'll go down to the bottom and rework it. Fortunately, this is the benefit of having the capital ship size blocks, is that we can rework a relatively large section of the ship, and it doesn't take that long. It doesn't take a lot of blocks, and you can see here where we kind of have that flat section sticking out above that bottom row. So, in order to fix that, we just put the blocks in here to have it line up with the blocks that are above them, and then once those are done, the whole thing will basically be done for this whole transition around to the side. It didn't really take that long. Real time, we're looking at less than half an hour to create this. And now that it's done, now that we've done all of the design work and seen how it looks, duplicating it on the other side is quick and easy to do because, again, it looks big, it looks massive, but it's not using a lot of blocks. duplicating things, the time-consuming part is when there's lots of blocks involved. So here's a pretty good example of what I was talking about when I said curving around to the side. It's not a perfect circular curve. It's not following that kind of a profile, and I'm okay with that. It was never really intended to be a perfect circular curve. For me, in my mind, curved was the word. That was that was the sole description that was going on in my head, was curved, not curved in a specific way. Uniform would be a word that would kind of fit in there. A uniform curve, you look at it and again, it looks like it was part of a design. It looks like it was part of something that was put together on purpose. But, we didn't have to put ourselves in a position where we were comparing it to a specific shape and saying good enough or not. I'm happy with the way that it's looking. We are going to reinforce it a little bit before it's all said and done, again, to offer that little bit of extra protection on the front end. This here where the screen goes orange, I just wanted to point this out in case it ever happens to you. The platform that we're working on is built over water. It's the platform is part of our base, but because of the way things have been working, the whole chassis has been bouncing around on this platform as we've been building it, and slowly it's worked itself over so that part of it is over the water itself. It's no longer on the platform, and every time it bounces, if my character is standing on the ship, any part of the ship, it falls through the blocks. It just falls through to whatever was below, and in this case, that meant falling into the water without my helmet on and starting to suffocate. It took me a little while to figure out what was going on, but fortunately I did before I died. But it was just one of those things. I decided that I would try and make a point of mentioning it to you. If you should find yourself in that position where you're building over water and all of a sudden the screen goes orange and you start losing health, it's because your ship has dropped you into the water and you're drowning. Something good to know. So you can see now, I was mentioning in the previous episodes how quick and easy the top, the bottom, and the sides would be once we got that front profile done. And you can see everything going into place now. There's a little bit of detail going on the sides. There's a bit of a profile there that's not just straight up and down. So that takes very, very little amount of time to kind of drag back, because that's all it is. We're not doing any more curves now. Basically, the side of the hangar is being pulled straight back. So we're just duplicating whatever blocks happen to be on the profile that we just finished and pulling them back, as you see. And the end result is a pretty robust bit of side armor that we're also going to be fortifying, especially in the corners. You can see where the different things aren't necessarily properly lined up. We're going to reinforce those. I don't expect to be doing a lot of extra reinforcing on this side as a whole. Just those areas where they're not actually, we've got blocks that are kind of close to each other but not actually touching, that make up the wall profile. In the next episode, we're probably going to have the tops, the sides, and the bottom done, and we're going to start working on the rear section. It's going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be a duplicate of the front section, because the front section is the front and the rear is a different aesthetic, because it's going to be coming together with the superstructure of the ship sitting on top of the hangar. So that's what we'll be working on. We'll have the rest of this stuff done. We're going to have to start cannibalizing our existing capital vessel, but that's okay, because we've got lots of blocks that we can get off of it, and that's a quick and easy way to get them. So if you want to be notified about the next episode and future episodes, the easiest way to do that is to subscribe to my channel and or follow me on social media. Links for social media are always in the information section below the video. Feel free to leave your comments and feedback. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.